Hi, my name is Miriam Salone with the Runner's Mechanic Physical Therapy Clinic, and today I want to talk to you about a very common training workout that we have during our training cycle called Speedwork. Okay, Speedwork is something that helps integrate more speed and power into our running. And it's great when you're training for even short distance or long distance. You'll see this in a lot of training plans. If you have a coach, they've obviously talked to you about this. It's a great workout, but it's also something that can come with some caveats. And so I wanted to talk about some tips and tricks when you start speed work to help, one, reduce injury, and two, help you be more successful in your speed work. So the biggest thing I tell people, this is pretty much a shock to your system when you start speed work. So this applies to new runners who have never done speed work before, people that did speed work last year, but you've taken some time off and you're just starting again, or even experienced runners who frequently do speed work, but as we get older and have experienced some injuries, we can also do some things to protect ourselves against future injury. And I'm gonna use myself as an example in some of this because I deal with a couple of things that I always have to take into account, especially when I start speed work, okay? So my history, I have a torn hip labrum on my left side. This happened about 8 years ago. I had traumatic injury to my left hip, tore my labrum, took a little chunk of cartilage out of my hip joint. Let's see if there was anything else. I think that was the main thing. It's very symptomatic in the beginning. I don't experience any issues right now, but anytime I start some bigger effort that is new in terms of terrain or speed work, I'm always very cognizant of it, and I've set a couple rules for myself and they tend to work pretty well. And so I wanted to share those with you. Okay, so specifically for speed work, and I tried to put a little list up here. Warm up, okay? So I don't know if you've seen my prior videos before, but for any run, I really recommend that somebody warms up with a brisk walk for about 10 minutes, okay? This really helps to start warming up our tendons. Our tendons are our main power generators when we run. They store elastic energy. That's the energy that helps us bounce when we run, okay? So that's really what that is. And that's why running is so much different than any other activity that we do. When we become a little bit older than 30, our tendon content starts to change, okay? And so our tendons and soft tissues don't have quite as much water content. And there's also some other factors that makes them a little bit less resilient against force, okay? So we have to be very aware of how we're treating our tendons and what we're doing with them to prepare for running. So warming up is one of the best things that we can do before our runs, okay? So I know for speed work, we're pushing about 85 to 90% of our effort in these intervals, okay? So high effort, very different than what we do in everyday life. And so the warm up is so key and it needs to be longer, okay? So we talk about a 10-minute brisk warm up or walk before you run and a normal run. And I always like dynamic movements before we run. And I have a little YouTube channel, so I'll try to share that link in here. But if you go to my YouTube, you'll see dynamic movements for dynamic stretching. Okay, and that's just warming up your joints and your tendons after your brisk walk. I like to do a brisk walk for about 10 minutes, and then I also do a little bit of jogging for another 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to make sure everything feels really nice and warm before I do these hard efforts. Then I do that dynamic program that's on the YouTube. I do some toe swipes, some walking split lunge, trunk rotations, kick and catch, all these 8 to 12 repetitions on each side. And I swear it doesn't take that long. Okay, I know I'm kind of listing off, but it does not take that long to go through those. And then I do a couple power skips, okay? And if you're not familiar with power skips or ABC skips, totally fine if you want to start with just regular skipping. Working on a couple passes for about 30 seconds each. Maybe you do skips where you try to get higher or more powerful with your skipping, some side-to-side stuff. But I do have a video on power skips, and I do have a couple others. So check those out. But I do think some skipping to help dealing with working those tendons, getting some elastic energy, running through them before you do these workouts is a great idea, okay? So please allot yourself enough time to get that warm up in. It's super important. It's just as important, in my opinion, as the workout itself, okay? Because if you can't repeat the workout later on because you're hurt, it just cancels your whole day. So anyway, keep it short, all right? So for the first time you go out there for speed work, Keep your program a little shorter and maybe don't put quite as much effort into it, okay? Because what we not only want to see is how you feel during your workout, but how you feel the days after. What shakes out in your system after you do that first speed workout, okay? So just do kind of a test run that first time. I always tell people, and I know this takes a little bit of time, but give yourself about a month to really get used to doing speed workouts, okay? I think after about 4 workouts, you'll start to feel what you need to be doing for yourself and just feel a little bit more attuned to it. So keep the first workout fairly short and maybe don't push the effort quite as much and see how things shake out. All right, reverse directions if you need. So I'm gonna give myself again as this example. Again, I have this hip label issue on the left side. Maybe I haven't done speed work in a while, so I started in the spring and things went well. I pushed it probably too hard, as everyone does. We all mess up once in a while. So I felt great, but a couple days later, about a day later, I felt a little IT band tightness on my right knee. Now I kept my direction the same. I didn't really think about it. I was with a friend. Of course, we get a little bit competitive and then we start talking and it's really fun. And so I did that, kind of common mistakes that everyone makes. And so I kind of made myself this little note and I said, next time I go out, I'm going to switch my directions every time I do a lap, okay, or a speed work interval. And so that's what I did. I did my warm up in one direction. I started interval in the other direction. And again, I'm just kind of getting whatever lane, I'm not messing anybody up or anything. I went by myself the next time. Wasn't that many people at the track. Didn't feel my right IT band at all. I think I kind of solved that one. And what happens is one leg is on the inside of the track, one leg's on the outside of the track, so they have more compressive forces depending on which side you're on. So anyway, so that seemed to work out well. And I remember that from last time. I just kind of forgot because I was talking with my friend. So that kind of eliminated my right IT band stuff. Felt fine for my other workouts. All right, careful on deceleration and acceleration also. So when we have these speed workouts, there's a certain amount of time, so whether you're doing time or you're doing distance, there's a time when you will start your workout, you accelerate, you keep your speed, and then you stop. Okay, so I want to talk to you about those phases. So when you start that interval, there's a couple of seconds where the whole body starts to increase its speed, we're changing that variable and we're accelerating. Then we hold that speed constant, and then we end our interval. Be very careful on the acceleration, which is the start time, and the deceleration, which is the end time, because that is when your tendons go through a lot of changes, okay? So if you can, give yourself a couple seconds leading up into that interval to start speeding up, okay? Then you kind of put the gas on, hold that speed with your effort level. The deceleration, please try to slow down, not on a dime, okay? So give yourself also a couple seconds to really slow down that deceleration to a stop. This is especially important if you have had a tendon issue, okay? So anyone that's had a high hamstring pull before will tell you things were going fine, I tripped, and it just sparked everything back up again. And that's because that is a rapid deceleration moment where the tendon takes on a lot of energy to stop that movement, okay? So please give yourself a couple seconds to decelerate out of that speed interval, okay? And the last thing is strength considerations, okay? We do need strength in order to prepare our bodies for these workouts, okay? It doesn't have to be complicated, okay? We're talking about kind of hitting each one of the functional movements, looking at hamstrings, glutes, quads, calves, okay, and some core stuff, all right? We can get into that a little bit more. So I've been doing some strength stuff, got into my workouts a little bit, felt great. My daughter started doing a little walk run at the end of the day, so I was going with her, and I kind of noticed that my left hamstring felt a little bit tight just on these kind of gentle runs with my daughter. And I was like, well, I probably need to really make sure I'm beefing up my intentional strengthening on my left side, especially because that's my hurt side. That's my hurt labral issue. And so I really started focusing again on doing some single leg hamstring curls, some single leg deadlifts, making sure that I had good mobility in that hamstring. And then it just sifted out pretty fine. Okay, so anyway, I just hope this gives you a little bit of food for thought when you start your speed workouts. And the biggest thing is for that first month, that first 3 to 4 weeks that you start your speed workouts, you take it easy. In a lot of regards, you listen to your body. And please reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever. If you want to email me, my email is runnersmechanic@gmail.com. If you'd like to make an appointment, you can also make that online at therunnersmechanic.com. I hope you have a great day and enjoy some of this beautiful weather.